Coming up on WFT's First at 5, the race for the badge of the Alachua County Sheriff continues. We're live at the Supervisor of Elections office.
Plus, Florida's men's basketball coach facing multiple allegations of harassment and stalking. We got our hands on the complaint.
In the search for a hit-and-run driver, the key piece of evidence troopers found that will help them track down who struck a child in Marion County. First at 5 starts right now.
First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Allegations of sexual harassment, making unwanted sexual advances, and stalking. Those are just some of the accusations levied against Gators men's basketball coach Todd Golden. This is WUFT's First at 5. I'm Bianca Smith.
And I'm Alexis Vivanco. The Alligator first reported the story after obtaining Title IX documents outlining the accusations. WFT's Bernardo Montas read the report and is live in the studio with a full breakdown of the complaints.
That's right, Alexis. According to the article, an unspecified number of women allege that Golden sexually exploited and harassed them. They've accused the Gators men's basketball head coach of stalking, too. Among many other things, their claims reference receiving unsolicited sexual advancements on Instagram. The article goes on to state Golden also allegedly took photos of women in public without their knowing. Other allegations accuse him of showing up unannounced to places he knew they'd be in. The Alligator reported it spoke with 2 women who attested to Golden's behavior. They said the head coach had been in contact with them for over a year. Per federal regulations, universities can't comment on Title IX cases, but we'll continue to monitor this situation and update you with any information as we receive it. Live in studio, I'm Bernardo Montas, WUFT News.
Neighbors in Alachua County are still waiting on who will lead the sheriff's office. This follows Tuesday's tight race between Sheriff Emery Gainey and his Democratic opponent Chad Scott. WUFT's Kade Sowers is live from the Supervisors of Elections office, where the recount is scheduled for this weekend.
As of this morning, only 415 votes stand between the two candidates. After counting provisional ballots last night, the county's canvassing board will begin the recount on Sunday. Right now, Sheriff Gainey holds 46.66% of votes, and Scott leading the race by just 0.31% with 46.97% of votes. Florida law states that if the frontrunner retains a 0.5% lead, it initiates an automatic machine recount. However, if the votes sit at an even narrower point, 25% gap, the recount must be done by hand. The race was only a 0.06% away from a hand recount. The recount will need to be completed by Thursday, but Supervisor of Elections Kim Barton does not expect it to take until then.
President-elect Donald Trump has made his first staffing decision for his upcoming administration, choosing Florida's Susie Wiles to be chief of staff. Wiles is one of Trump's longest-serving advisors and a key member of his re-election campaign. She previously helped Ron DeSantis secure the governorship back in 2018. She will become the first woman in U.S. history to hold this position. He praised her on election night.
Susie likes to stay sort of in the back, let me tell you. The Ice Maiden, we call her the Ice Maiden.
The current Justice Department is evaluating how to wind down the 2 federal criminal cases against President-elect Trump to comply with the department's policy against prosecuting a sitting president.
And right now, Florida Highway Patrol is searching for this white pickup truck that struck a 12-year-old in Bellevue Wednesday night. Take a look at your screen. She was walking on the side of the country road 467 when the truck ran into her. The vehicle immediately fled northbound before the Florida Highway Patrol arrived on the scene. If you have any information on the vehicle, please call the Regional Communications Center.
Taking a look at our Paynes Prairie traffic cam, we got a lot more clouds than sun overhead and some spotty sprinkles this evening as we enter Memorial Day weekend. WUFT's Ben Gancars-Davies is tracking the rain on the radar, and he's here with us right now with more on the showers we're going to see over the long weekend.
Thank you, Bianca. Yes, very similar to Paynes Prairie here above campus. We do have a lot of clouds. We finally have some sun peeking through, but sunset is coming up quick, so that won't be there for very long. Current temperatures are below 80 degrees in those upper 70s, and we're going to see a drop continue over the next couple of hours. The remnants of some sprinkles that were in Alachua over the past couple of hours are making their way west. So let's take a little bit of a broader look. You can see they're making their way towards Cross City. So if you're spending an extended amount of time outside, you might want to grab a raincoat. But if you're just going to be there for a few minutes, you should be safe to go as long as you don't see rain when you look outside your window. Looking at our hour by hour for the rest of the evening, we have those temperatures cooling down. A little bit of fog in the morning as those lows are in those upper 60s. Looking for the rest of the weekend, I'll let you know how Hurricane Rafael may play out for the rest of the weekend and how to plan that for yourself.
A Citrus County woman is behind bars after receiving a guilty verdict on charges of battery upon an elderly man as the almost year-long case comes to a close. Here are pictures taken inside the courtroom as jurors delivered the verdict on Melissa Alexander's case. Back in April, the Citrus County Sheriff's Office deputies responded to gunshots at a home. The elderly victim reported to deputies that Alexander had broken into the home and they got into a fight after trying to get Alexander to leave. Alexander and the victim fought over a gun. It fired and both people were shot. Alexander faces a minimum of 10 years in prison.
And the city of Gainesville is one of 5 cities chosen to receive an $150,000 grant to help in hurricane relief following Helene and Milton. Nonprofit organization, the Cities for Financial Empowerment Fund, are the organizers behind this funding, and Mayor Harvey Ward says he's grateful for the support.
A surprising number of individuals in any community have not given a lot of thought to financial disruptions that occur after natural disasters. And that can be as simple as, hey, there's no electricity, so the ATMs don't run. And it can be as complex as, there's a tree through my house.
Ward explains that many people might be ready for the storm, but not for what comes next. This program looks at the long-term effects of these natural disasters, and through the program, the city will get technical assistance to rebuild and expand emergency infrastructure. They also aim to help residents navigate finances and support resources as they rebuild.
While you have the day off for Veterans Day this Monday, be on the lookout for the holiday events and freebies. Here are the few that you can go check out. You can kick off the celebration this Saturday at Levy County's annual Veterans Day Parade. In Alachua County, you can celebrate Veterans Day starting at 9 a.m. at Veterans Memorial Park. You can take part in the live music and guest speakers while learning more on veterans healthcare resources. And if you enjoy live bands from Marion County schools at 10 a.m. at Marion County's Memorial Park. And if festivities aren't your thing, don't worry about it. If you're looking for the way to enjoy the day off in nature or just want to look at some art, you can go visit the state parks or Appleton Museum of Art for free. Metro Diner is also offering discount deals for veterans. Just make sure to bring your military ID.
And in Alachua County, all offices will be closed on Monday for Veterans Day, but this will not affect residential curbside collection services for solid waste, recycling, and trash. So some good news there. Though the Office of Waste and collection centers will be closed. The animal shelter will be closed on Monday, but animal resources officers will respond 24/7 for anything about public safety or animals in danger. And amongst the celebrations this Veterans Day is the honoring of those who have served. The family monument ceremony will be taking place at 5 p.m. at Marion Veterans Memorial Park. The city says it's meant to represent U.S. military involvement.
Coming up on WUFT First at 5, a new grant can mean the difference for at-risk communities in Gainesville.
And how Alachua County commemorates the deaths of indigent people who had no place to call home.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Alachua County leaders are honoring neighbors who died but had no loved ones to help pay for their burials. This week, in an annual event the county held, they're honoring the departed service at Evergreen Cemetery. WUFT's Sebastian Broche attended the ceremony and explains why leaders say that the service is so important.
I'm here in the city of Gainesville honoring the departed, a yearly ceremony dedicated to commemorate those who passed away without a service.
Cheryl Vidian.
Today we're honoring the departed who have been laid to rest over the past year here at Evergreen Cemetery. The folks that we're particularly honoring today are folks who received what's known as an indigent burial.
Indigent burials are made for those who can't afford a proper funeral. Florida law states that the county is in charge of supplying the burial. However, Mary Alford, chair of Alachua County Commission, decided to go a step further.
We're all people and we all deserve that dignity. We all deserve to know that when we die, we will have at least the honor of having our name being read in a public place, that the meaningfulness of our life has been acknowledged.
Those in attendance recognize the importance of the event.
It's important to recognize those of us who don't have someone else to recognize them. Everyone deserves to be recognized and acknowledged and have a dignified burial.
This year, over 40 people were remembered here at Evergreen Cemetery.
Marie Hapso.
Just because those people aren't here in this time, in this place, doesn't mean that they weren't in some time, in some place. And we need to honor that. That's part of what makes us human.
And as the event wraps up, The unclaimed yet never forgotten people of Gainesville lie to rest after this ceremony. Sebastian Broche, WFT News.
HCA Florida announces they'll be awarding their $25,000 Health Equity Catalyst grant to the Bread of the Mighty Food Bank. The funding is in an effort to address community health and safety needs by supporting the food bank's anti-hunger initiatives. With this grant, the food bank intends to target in-need communities in East Gainesville and the rural Alachua County. And Ocala residents should be ready for some traffic delays this Thanksgiving week. Duke Energy is starting up a previously delayed construction plan that requires helicopter support over some city roads. Take a look on your screen now. Traffic on these roads will only have temporary 5-minute stops throughout the days of November 25th and 26th between the hours of 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Duke Energy officials say that the helicopter has to safely fly overhead to provide supplies for the construction. Additional construction dates might be necessary if the weather delays the project.
Hurricane Rafael is moving away from Florida, but another storm may form over the next week in the Caribbean. Your forecast is coming up.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome back. We're taking a look at what is currently going on in the Gulf. Down here, this large area of moisture and circulation is Hurricane Rafael, which passed through Cuba just a couple of days ago as a Category 3 storm, causing a good amount of damages. But currently it has lessened to now be a Category 2, and it's going to be stalling out in the Gulf of Mexico after those cooling waters slow it down just a little bit, and it loses a bit of that momentum that it had previously. It's going to lower into a tropical depression, and then over the next couple of days, by next Wednesday, dissipate from there even. Looking at the rest of our tropics, we do have one other area highlighted where this moisture could possibly turn into a storm over the next 7 days, but it is quite low percent, just about 10%, as we are in that last stretch of hurricane season, which lasts through the end of the month. Looking back at our campus cam, those clouds are dissipating to allow for sun. Hopefully we'll be able to see just a little bit of sunset as it comes in the next couple of minutes. Current temperatures in those upper 70s, and they're going to be dropping quickly as that sun sets quite soon. Looking at the storm tracker, we don't have too much going on, just a lingering couple of showers that are going to be continuing throughout the weekend, making it just a little bit wet here in Alachua County and in the rest of our region. You might be expecting to see a little bit of fog this weekend in the early morning as we have those temperatures quickly declining from their current temperatures to those lows that are below 70 degrees in those upper 60s. You can see the little fog markers around 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. This is going to last till about 9 a.m. and then it's going to dissipate, but those low temperatures combined with that moisture really have that effect on your early morning commute, so make sure to turn on your low lights if you are driving. Looking at the rest of the weekend, we are going to have a nice weekend here in Gainesville. Despite those possibility of slight showers, it is going to be largely dry and largely sunny with a bit of cloud coverage. Those temperatures are going to climb to those mid-80s before lowering again for the late evening and into the evening portion of the day. Looking at our muggy meter, temperatures are going to be muggy, so there's a lot of moisture in the air, making it feel possibly just a little bit hot. You can see those slight rain chances coming in, 20% Friday, 20% Sunday. That is referring to those spotty showers that I was discussing earlier and that we experienced throughout the day today. Looking at our 7-day outlook, we have that fog on Saturday, and we're going to have temperatures declining throughout the week, welcoming in a little bit of cooler fall temperatures through the end of Friday. Those lows are following a similar trend with Veterans Day on Monday.
Coming up in sports, it's that time of the year again, and the high school football playoffs are set to begin. We'll be taking a closer look at local teams and how the road to the state championship could look. More information on that after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emilio Boutros, here to give you your sports for today. The Independent Florida Alligator recently reported sexual misconduct allegations involving Florida men's head basketball coach Todd Golden. According to the allegations, Golden is accused of sexual exploitation, unwanted sexual advances on social media, sexual harassment, and stalking. The Alligator reported that according to the Title IX report, that Golden sent photos and videos of his genitalia. The article stated that the University of Florida received a formal Title IX complaint September 27th, and some action has taken place according to the victims. The high school football regular season has come to a close, and now it's time for playoffs. Juan Chaoui is live at Florida High School Athletic Association headquarters with what to expect of the soon-to-be-released playoff bracket.
That's right. It's all about the gridiron tonight, Emilio. FHSAA is expected to release the high school football playoff schedules at around 6 o'clock. But before we get into what teams are expected to make it to the playoffs this time around, a quick refresher on how Vanguard, Buchholz, Eastside, and Williston, did last season.
Buchholz and Vanguard High Schools both placed first in their divisions with strong records coming out of their seasons last year. Both made it to the semifinals in their respective divisions before Buchholz lost to Lakeland and Vanguard lost to Mainland. It's almost the same tale with the Eastside Rams. They also won their districts, but ended up losing in the second round of playoffs to Bradford High. Finally, the Williston Red Devils ended their 2023-2024 playoff run after a third-round loss to Hawthorne High. Moving on to this year's season, Vanguard claimed their district with 9 wins and 1 loss to Buchholz. Newberry did the same, winning their district with an 8-2 record. Although Bradford's 8 wins and 1 loss wasn't enough to finish on top, all 3 teams have the strongest case to make this year's playoffs, as well as Hawthorne, which is looking to repeat as state champs with a strong 7-1 record. Buchholz and Eastside, however, are in tougher spots with 7-3 records each, and Williston is in the toughest spot of the 6 with a record of 6-4.
Once again, the FHSAA is expected to release the schedule around 6 o'clock tonight, so high school football fans, get ready, be on standby. It's almost time to learn the fate of your favorite teams. Live from FHSAA headquarters, Juan Carlos Chaoui, WUFT Sports.
Tomorrow, Gator football goes on the road to face off against one of their toughest opponents yet, the number 5 ranked Texas Longhorns. The Gators coming into this one are shorthanded as quarterback DJ Lagway is still questionable for tomorrow's game. Aiden Warner is set to step up for this shorthanded Gators team, which also will be missing their number 1 wide receiver, Trey Wilson, who is out for the rest of the year. The Gators defense have their hands full as they attempt to stop Quinn Ewers and this high-powered Texas offense. Florida coach Billy Napier had this to say about their opponent.
And certainly there's some history there with the program as well. A lot of great coaches, a lot of great players, some championship teams. So for as long as I can remember, Texas has been a factor and one of those brands that has been a contender.
Kickoff is set for tomorrow at noon. Last night, the women's basketball team beat FAMU with a final score of 102-67. They were led by Liv McGill, who scored 21 points. Now shifting things to the men's basketball team, they blew out Jacksonville University in their home debut in the O-Dome. The Gators will come out of the gate strong, scoring 46 points in the first half and holding the Dolphins to 36. Alex Condon will be a driving force behind this one as he was perfect from the field, shooting 7 for 7, scoring 23 points. Another big contributor would be Elijah Martin as he will shoot 50% from beyond the arc and score 15 points. The final score would be 81-60. Florida is set to take on Grambling State in the O-Dome on Monday. Coming off a big win against Ole Miss on Sunday, the Gators volleyball team is set to battle it out against SEC opponent Auburn tonight and the Alabama Crimson Tide on Sunday. The Gators have been on a roll recently, winning their last 5 matchups, all against SEC schools. Kennedy Martin is looking to lead the Gators into this matchup against the Tigers, as she has been on a tear this season, leading the team with 265 kills, and she was recently named the Co-Offensive Player of the Week for her games last week. The Auburn matchup is set for tonight at 7, and the Alabama game will be on Sunday at 1. And now to wrap things up, the Ravens met the Bengals in the latest edition of Thursday Night Football. The game would come down to the wire, and a failed 2-point conversion would give the Ravens the edge to win this one, with the final score being 35-34.
With this 3-day weekend, we sure got a lot of things to do. We have 2 volleyball games, we have the football game, and I'm going to EDC this weekend, so I have to practice my dance moves right now so I can get jiggy with it.
Okay. I mean, for the rest of us that don't have such good coordination, I mean, Emilio, thanks again for such an awesome report. I mean, do you have anything planned this weekend yourself?
I'm just hoping to see the Gators upset the Longhorns this weekend. It's going to be an exciting matchup.
I mean, anything personally? Are you flying out to the game?
No. No.
We don't got bread like that, unfortunately. But for the rest of us that are going to stay right here at home, I mean, Veterans Day should be a fun time. I mean, Ben, I know, listen, weather might be a little bit different these days, but are we still going to have a good time? I mean, is the weather going to dampen our spirits, or what do we got for us?
Yeah, it's going to be nice and warm this weekend. Temperatures in the mid-80s. There might be a little bit of those sprinkles we were talking about earlier, but for the large part, it's going to be a dry weekend for those of you who are looking forward to the 3-day Veterans Day.
Now, thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to be back here on Tuesday for another edition at First at 5.
But your North Central Florida news is always on at WFT.org and on all of our social media platforms. Have a great night.